There's one even before the one for 2 minutes. So this next train should be a brown line. So we'll try to get in the back. Maybe we can get that magic seat at the back there. Yeah, Mr. Sub, yeah. Little engine that could. Yeah, let's take a train ride. So, see, we're at Washington Wells, so we're gonna ride around the loop, and then we'll go all the way up to Fullerton. This goes up to Kimball, the northwest side. See, the brown line, here's your map of your CTA. We're here, we're gonna go around, head to Fullerton. So you can get to the O'Hare, Midway, orange and blue lines. Here comes the brown line, here it comes. Yeah, you got it. There are elevators. This station's ADA accessible. There's a few stations that aren't ADA accessible. Here, we'll get this last car here. There's some already people in here. We can get by the door here. I go over here. Film out the window here. I work downtown, so I work for an architecture engineering firm. I know there's new people tuning in all the time. That's why I stopped at Daily Plaza and we filmed the boxing going on there. So here we get to film down the streets here. Check out the loop. How you doing? I'm just live streaming out the window here. Yeah, I'm on. I'm on YouTube. That's a great view looking out the back there. Yeah, that's good. You mind if I film out the back there? Or, I don't want to cramp you here, but yeah, that's good. I was at Daily Plaza. They got boxing. They got some youth boxing going on, so they got a boxing ring and everything. It was nice. But look at this view. Wow.
What does the chat say to the view?
Yeah, they say they wonder why I'm downtown. I work downtown. They want to know what train is a brown line here. So here, I'll let you be here, but thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me follow there. So here, yeah, we'll head up here. Doors closing here. Yeah, we'll head up here, so we won't be so much in people's space here. That's good. Here's the Quincy stop here. We're on the brown line here, heading around the loop here, so we'll give you some. Yeah, Quincy's a nice historic station here. Here's the orange line. It's hard to see, it's just a blur there. There we go. There, you look down the street there. That's probably Jackson. No, it's Jackson. We'll head down to Van Buren here. You might be able to get a nice view of the train curving around here. Hey, you want to visit one day? You deliver the Dearborn restaurant. Yeah, the Dearborn restaurant. It's right there on Dearborn and Randolph. Yeah, we went by there on our way to Daily Plaza. See how that's the train we're on. It's heading around the bend here. We're in the south west corner of the loop here. Oh yeah, the architecture. Look at this building here, right at the track level. These huge buildings in the loop. Look at there goes the pink line heading the other way. Look at that. Hey, you can look between the trains here. So we're pulling up on the LaSalle stop. LaSalle stop is the one in planes, trains, and automobiles that you can see at the end. This is the stock market, stock exchange plaza. It's got the sculptures and things, the horse. Here's the back side of the Board of Trade here. Here's the LaSalle Van Buren station here, the one used in planes, trains, and automobiles. You might remember John Candy and Steve Martin using this station. See, here's the door open here. Oh. Almost lost an arm there. Brown line, yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, just watch the Blues Brothers there. One of the famous scenes where they got that single room occupancy hotel they stay in. It's a real small room, and John Belushi asked Dan Aykroyd, character. He said, how often does the train go by? He says, so often you won't even notice. It goes by all the time because they were on Van Buren. They actually were on that. That's where this was supposedly taking place here. This is Dearborn Street. That's the Fisher building there. That's what that's called. And this is the Monadnock building. This side is steel frame construction. The other side is Loganberry Walls. Hey, we can look out the back now. How you doing? So they lay off there. We'll sit out in the back there. Those guys were nice to let me film there when they were sitting there. Now we can just film out the back here the whole way. I can sit. And the ambiance. Look at this. This is the library station here. See, those are the guys who are back here. We're on the Brown line here. Yeah, this is the Harold Washington Library stop here, State and Van Buren. There's the Harold Washington Library. We'll get a nice view as we head around the southeast corner of the loop. There's the CTA worker there. Don't step on the third rail. You got to know what you're doing. So you see how careful he is to walk across there and not to touch that inner rail. There's a way to do it. And the third rail is direct current. There's the Sears Tower. Here we're looking west along Van Buren, the trough of the elevated lines here. So you can look this way. This is looking down Wabash. There's the Roosevelt University, the new housing there. There's the nice mural there. We can look straight down the tracks. There's a switch here. That's where you connect to the green and orange lines. You can connect to the green lines that go to the south side, both Cottage Grove and through Inglewood, or to Inglewood, and then it splits. And then there's the orange line. It'll take you to Midway. It splits off at Chinatown there. Yeah, this is Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in here. We're in the loop of Chicago here, heading around on the Brown line. So thanks for tuning in. We're just filming down the tracks here. It goes the pink line. Pink line will go all the way around. It heads to the west side. It goes, Cicero goes through Pilsen and Lawndale, yeah. See, there's a orange line or green line heading in behind us there. Zooming down the tracks there. Yeah, Chicago. Pizza Lisa is tuning in. Taco jalapeno salsa. Thanks everybody. Denise. Yeah, if you missed it earlier, we saw some boxing there at Daily Plaza. That was great seeing the youth group spar there. The Chicago Park District programs all that. They have boxing matches throughout the city for the local youth to get involved with, which is great. And yeah, California's tuning in. That's good. Yeah, Chicago has much less graffiti than New York. I know New York. I do see some graffiti tags on, mainly on the interior here. So you see on the interior of the train, there's some, people carve stuff into the walls and stuff. But, here we're at Washington and Wabash here. I love these buildings here along Wabash. You see some of the most historic storefronts there. Look at that. Look at these amazing storefronts. And then they build buildings behind and stave the fronts because they have historic value. And there you can look to Millennium Park, Washington, Wabash here. This station looks like Calatrava, but it was designed by EXP. And Shankar Nair was the structural engineer. I think Tom Heff was the architect. They consolidated two stations, and they added elevators and ADA accessibility, and got rid of the old antiquated wooden platforms, which you can still see at State and Lake, which we'll go by here and we catch the train sometimes. But we're still on Wabash here, the loop of Chicago. Thanks for tuning in here. We got 1246. It's about 85 degrees outside. It's about 70 degrees inside. We got air conditioning here, 69, whatever it is. Yeah, cool vantage point. Yeah, we got the back of the train. I had to wait. There were some people sitting here, but they left the train. And we're able to film out the back here. See, there's where we started from. There's Lake Street. There's the Trump Tower and Virgin Hotels, Michigan Avenue. There's the Prudential Buildings. This is Lake Street. Oh yeah, I'm very blessed to live in a beautiful city. That's why I react so badly when people put our city down, because I'm like, what's with the negativity? I know the city has problems. We are the big bad city. We got crime and high taxes and plenty of share of blight and poverty, but there's positive, negatives to everything. There's beautiful parts of every city. There's ugly parts of every city. I think you guys are intelligent enough to get that. But here, yeah, we're at the State and Lake Station here on the Brown line. We're gonna head north. We're taking it all the way to Fullerton here. tuning in on a Wednesday here, taking a train ride. Yeah, there's a green line heading the other direction there to Cottage Grove, leaving the State and Lake Station here. Yeah, positivity. Yeah, we got to feed upon the positivity as much as we can here. So, hey, there's the top of the Aon building, the top of the 2 Prudential. We're still on Lake Street. We'll go by the Clark and Lake here. For LaSalle, I might head over there. There's a nice view to the Board of Trade that we already saw. We'll see it again once we pull on. Hey, Taco's Board of Trade at 12th and State. That's good. Yeah, you're south of me there. That's great, Taco. Yeah, see you later there. Thanks, Will. Lisa. Free King here. Croatia's tuning in. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, so here, let me show you this view. When we pull out here, if you look to the south here, there's an amazing view to the Board of Trade over LaSalle. We already saw it. See, here's the Thompson Center. It's under construction. Here's LaSalle. Here's this nice view to the Board of Trade there. Look at that. Looking straight down LaSalle Street, Chicago, Illinois. So here's the, we just exited the Clark and Lake Station. You can transfer to the blue line, get to O'Hare there. Here comes a pink line heading in from the west side. New Zealand, how you doing there, Jane? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. If I missed anybody, sometimes the comments fly by when I'm moving around and I miss stuff, so thanks for your comments there. Sometimes my mods can answer questions or other people that are regulars, people part of the lunch bunch. If I miss something, you know the answer to, like where are we at, just say Chicago. I appreciate that. Helps out. Yeah, see, like that, Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. This is the Chicago River. So we're crossing the Chicago River on a brown line here at Wells Street. This is the view looking east towards the lake. You can't see the lake. We're looking at the skyscraper canyon here formed by the Chicago River. See the CTA L tracks cross here. Here's the confluence. There's Lisa. There's the confluence of the north and south branch of the Chicago River. And we're at the Merchandise Mart here. So there you can see, look right into the loop where we rode all the way around the loop there. We started at that station, went the other direction. Oh, that's a stunning view on the river. Yeah, a lot of people post that when you cross there on the train there. Yeah, it's stunning. See, look, you can see the train crossing there. There's a switch right there. And that's where the train comes in from the west side. That's probably a green line. Head through there. See that other train's waiting for it. There's a switch there. We're pulling out of the Merchandise Mart station here. Thanks for tuning in. Can we sit down? Oh, I already had my lunch there, Scott. Yeah, thanks. Hope everybody else got their lunch. I ate before I started streaming there. I got it. We had a meeting this morning there, and I got my lunch there. Yeah, rail system, it actually works. This system goes back to the 1890s. The Green Line just celebrated its 133rd anniversary. Now, of course, they did major renovations in the 1990s, and to keep that line working, it's a lot of upkeep. The CTA maintenance crews are always working on the switches and stuff. In the wintertime, sometimes they burn the switches to keep them from freezing. Here, you see how the Sears Tower rises behind the Merchandise Mart, and you can look to the skyline of Chicago, looking down, what is this, Kinsey or Grand Avenue, I can't tell. And there's the Sears Tower there. Look at that. Merchandise Mart. Yeah, look at that. I think that's Ohio Street. And we should cross Ontario here. There's the Sears Tower. Yeah, there's Ontario. Oh, there, of course, there's a sign there, so you can't see anything. I'm not trying to make you sick by swinging around like this. Just trying to film down the streets there. Beautiful clouds there. We got storms heading in. That's why I'm taking the train home now. Yeah, the winds. Yeah, the Mojave Desert needs rain too. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for enjoying the rain there. Eagle Eye, yeah. Yeah, the Esplanade. Yeah, Peace and Lisa's in the house. We almost saw the confluence there by the Esplanade. Look at the Sears Tower there. Doors closing, Chicago Avenue, 1252. Here, if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're pulling out the Chicago station on the Brown Line at Chicago Avenue. Is that confusing? And we'll head up to Sedgwick here. Here's the Chicago station here. Look at that nice script they got on the side of that building there. There's the station there, Chicago Avenue, looking towards the One Chicago Tower. Look at that beautiful turret there. We filmed this train many times from below, and now we're riding on it here. There you can look right back to that's the Trump Tower there. And look at that water tower housing here. Yeah, look at that script there on that building. See, there is some graffiti. It's just you got to know where to look for. That's a mural over there. It's artwork there, but there's some street art there, whatever you want to call it. But here we'll see the Sears Tower rise yet again above these buildings as we head north. We'll try to get you a view to the John Hancock here. If we look down, look right there. See it's hard to see the John Hancock there. There you can see it. There's a good view of the John Hancock. We'll go by the Walter Payton High School, number 34 Sweetness, Walter Payton High School. As we look towards the John Hancock here, see there's the Sears Tower. And there it is. There's number 34 there. They're playing. Hey, they got slip and slide. Number 34. There's the high school. Walter Payton College Prep there. And look back to the Sears Tower there. Look at that beautiful clouds. And then and see this curve here. It's because of St. Joseph's Church. St. Joseph's Church, they built the elevated tracks to go around it because the church was there first. There, we'll get Division Street here. Here's Division Street looking east towards the lake. Yeah, what a city there. Here goes the Brown Line heading back the other way there. Let's zoom in there. Look at that view of the Sears Tower there. Look at that. Thanks, Free King. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thanks for checking out good content here. We saw that boxing. And now we're taking a train right here. This is great. Look at those clouds. So you can see the skyline there a little bit. And then the buildings fill in here. But we're heading up to Old Town here. We're almost to Old Town. You know, when we walk along the train, when we go along Orleans and I film the train walking to work, that's the stretch we're on right now. We're on that stretch between Schiller and the Sedgwick stop. We'll make a bend there. That's looking back towards the Sears Tower. Yeah, the Brown Line, you got it. See, that's those Royalton apartments there. Go around the bend here. We'll pull into the Sedgwick stop. Yeah, thanks for smashing the like. Smash and grab. Hey, look at those balconies have really nice views here. We're at the Sedgwick stop. We just rounded the bend there. We're going to Fullerton, so we get off of Fullerton. I'm heading home from work. Well, I'm going to work this afternoon from home. There's storms coming, and I kept checking the radar, and they said that the storms are going to hit 5 to 8 o'clock tonight, and that's right when I walk home from work. So instead of me trying to scramble home, we'll work from home, and then if the rain doesn't hit, then we'll do some live streaming at 5 on TikTok as usual. If it is raining, I'll either delay it or I'll send a message saying we'll wait till tomorrow. You know, see how it goes and see how bad the storms are. So I think it's just going to be rain. But here we're on the Brown Line here. We're heading. There's St. Michael's. Oh, I can't film it. There's St. Michael's. There's the steeple of St. Michael's. Old Town there. There you can see it. There's the steeple of St. Michael's. So you walk by that. Cleveland Street, north of north. Yeah, so I did not grow up in Chicago. I moved here in 1999. That's great. Thanks for tuning in from Cicero. That's great. Yeah, you can take the pink line right out to Cicero there. We know about all the Al Capone history, and Cicero is a great place there on the west side. They're a suburb just outside of Chicago, just like Oak Park and Evanston, connected by the CTA trains. But no, I moved to Lincoln Park in 1999. I've lived in Lincoln Park, Clark and Fullerton area for 26 years. And I know I'm a horrible North Sider, but at least I moved to an area that was already gentrified long before I moved here. I didn't gentrify Pilsen or Humboldt Park. And I enjoy living by the lake here. Going to KFC, that's good. Yeah, Austin Boulevard. There you go. Yeah, there's so much Al Capone history. I've seen Boardwalk Empire and read some of the books. Look how you can look back. Those are nice housing there. Here, this is North Avenue. Yeah, we'll get a nice view to Halstead. We'll be able to see the Steppenwolf Theater. So we'll look up Halstead here through the heart of Lincoln Park here, Halstead. And the Steppenwolf Theater. Gary Sinise, the Lieutenant Dan, he founded this theater along with two partners back in the 1970s. Many great actors have gone through there, including John Malkovich. And we've lost, you know, Michael, what's his name? The guy from Kill Bill, and he was part of Reservoir Dogs. He trained under John Malkovich there. Why can't I think of his name here? Hold on, I'll pull it up here. Maybe somebody will help me out here. So we're about 3 miles south of Wrigley Field. I'm not going to take it all the way to Wrigley Field because I got to go to work. Michael Madsen trained there too. You know Michael Madsen from Reservoir Dogs. He just recently passed away. We've lost so many Chicago actors recently, including George Wendt, who was, you know, of course, Norm from Cheers. He trained at the Second City, which is the Improv there. Yeah, Virginia's brother there, Madsen, Michael Madsen. Thanks, pizza. Thanks, Pizza Lisa. So here's where the red line comes out of the subway. So we could have took the red line, but we get to see more on the brown line because we're above ground. Yeah, the Blues Brothers. Yeah, the Blues Brothers. Look, there's some equipment there. Hey, there's the red line heading down into the subway tunnel, so we get to see that. And sometimes I walk, you know, through this alley where you can see these trains. We're right at Armitage here. We're gonna go to Fullerton here. We got 12:59. Yeah, Michael Madsen. I'm sorry to break the news there. Yeah, he passed away a week or so ago. I think it was last week. We were talking about that. Yeah, too young. There's the brown line heading into the city. We're leaving Armitage here. Yeah, thanks, Diamond Art. D-Man's Diamond Art there. Yeah, so look, someone's calling Lincoln Park the ghetto. For all my Chicago friends, someone's calling Lincoln Park the ghetto. That's rich. We're never gonna win that person over if they can't appreciate the city here. Look how close the train comes to some of these buildings here. It's a really interesting perspective. And the trees, you see how they have to trim the trees to fit the train through here. Yeah, AJ, we can do you a favor and make it so you don't have to see my content. You want us to permanently block you there? Just keep it up there, buddy. We can permanently block you and do you a favor because you obviously aren't enjoying this content. So I'm enjoying you. Get angered by watching this. This energizes me to keep on, motivates me to keep on doing this. So here we're gonna get off the train here. So here's DePaul University. There's the St. Vincent de Paul there. Yeah, let's walk through here. So here we'll just walk down Fullerton here. Thanks for taking a train ride there. See, that's where we were at. We were sitting back in that little last seat there. There we go. Hey, welcome to Fullerton. There's the brown line pulling into the other side there. Just head down the stairs and head home here. New Zealand, that's good. Thanks, Billy the Kid there. How you doing there? Yeah. Tuning in there. No Dirt, how you doing there? Yeah, Mark, I got to check out your rugby there. That's good. Yeah, we'll promote the Chicago rugby. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah.